Okay, sure, we will start. So, welcome everyone. In today's session, we are conducting a seminar on career opportunities and design and architecture. Uh, this presentation, this seminar is a part of our arcade program, which I'll guide you through. Today, we'll be taking the session with Shruti ma'am, who is a graphic designer by profession and associate professor in Bharati Vidyapit College of Fine Arts, and architect Divya ma'am, who is an assistant professor in Briggs School of Architecture. So let us start. So to start the presentation for the uh, smooth running, please keep your microphones and videos off throughout the presentation. Q&A session will be conducted at the end of the presentation. If you have any questions or queries, please let them come through in the chat box. So today is 14th of June. We are having a seminar on career opportunities in architecture and design, which is a free educational seminar on 10th for 10th, 11th, and 12th standard students interested in pursuing a career in architecture, design, and fashion streams. The presentation is a part of our arcade program. Arcade stand for AR for architecture, C for creativity, A for arts, and E for design. We conduct this program every year. Whatever extracurricular sessions, workshops we conduct, they come under Arcade 2020. We have started the Arcade program on 17th of May with the Pathfinder batch, which I'll be talking about in my presentation. After that, from 8th of June to 14th of June, in like we had a session at 1 p.m. as well, which was a part of Rung Art Festival. Today we are doing career opportunities in architecture and design. So today we have a very esteemed professionals, renowned professionals to speak. We have Professor Dr. Shruti Negudkar. She's an associate professor at Bharati Vidya College of Fine Arts and Applied Arts, and she will be talking about design to you. And the presentation on architecture will be conducted by architect Divya. She will be talking to us about her journey of architecture, and she'll also be showing you some work of the architecture students. So let me speak a little bit about speakers. First, I'll start with Professor Dr. Shruti Negudkar ma'am. She has been working in the design field for more than 2 decades. She has completed her PhD recently in visual arts from SNDT College and working as an associate professor in Bharati Vidyapit College of Fine Arts under Savitribai Phule University. Uh, she has been a great contributor in the field of education. She has been associated with Symbiosis School of Design, Institute of Design, which is in Pune, MIT School of Fine Arts, Briggs School of Architecture, to name a few. And she has been also on the member of board of studies in various universities. Her research papers are published in conferences and esteemed journals. With her vast experience in teaching and working in design field, she aims to help and inspire students towards a career in art and design. I'll also talk about our second speaker, architect Divya ma'am. She's an assistant professor in Briggs School, SMF is Briggs School of Architecture, which is in Pune. She's a passionate environmental architect and assistant professor at Briggs School of Architecture, which, as I said again, in Pune. Her passion is to shape young minds for sustainable design and architecture has led her to dedicate 4 years of teaching. She has recently won MASA, which is Maharashtra Association of Schools of Architecture Best Teacher Award for Architectural Design, which is a subject in architecture in 2019. She's a professional with masters in environmental architecture from Pune University and a certificate in project management from UC Berkeley. Her professional experience is a mixed bag of roles over the years in the countries like India, USA, New Zealand. Currently, she is working as an assistant professor at SMFE's Briggs School of Architecture. So we'll take their presentation one by one. So I would like to start. I would like to ask Dr. Shruti to come in. Ma'am, if you can come in, please.
Hi, can you hear me?
Let me put your let me give you the screen sharing option, and yes, you are good to go. Thank you.
You need to stop your, yeah, hi. So I'll just share my screen.
Yes. Yes, perfect.
Yeah. So thank you for inviting me, and it's a great pleasure to be talking to aspirant designers. And I guess that the students are from 11th and 12th, so they are on the verge of deciding their profession now and deciding their colleges and courses. So it's going to be a pleasure for me to talking to them. Um, Let me tell you a little bit about myself. So I have a huge list of degrees. So I started with a GDART program, which was the only program available in Pune if you had to pursue visual communication or design. And I did that from Abhinav Kala Mahavidyalaya, which was the only college in Pune at that point of time. Then I have also done my diploma in art education. So when you're teaching art, it helps you understand the teaching aspect uh, of design. I have done my BFA in Applied Arts from Bharati Vidyapeeth as a bridge course, which was part of University Savitribai Phule Pune University, which was 1-year program because it was after the GDAT program and allowed a diploma to be converted into a degree. My specialization at that point was visualization, and then I have also done my master's in 2 separate disciplines. One of my masters is in applied arts, which is more about visual communication and graphic design. And my other master is in drawing and painting, so which is a pure fine art branch. My PhD is in visual arts, which is a bigger umbrella, which includes all art disciplines, including the design aspect and graphic design. And my subject interest was at that point of time semiotics. So as in my introduction, it was mentioned that I have been on different board of studies and also on syllabus committee of Pune University for forming the syllabus of BFA program and also BDES program for VIT. I have contributed in various institutes as a guest lecturer or as a jury member, uh, institutes like MIT SOFA, SID, TMAV, etc. And the subjects that are dear to me and I like to teach are branding, communication design, user experience design, user interface design, semiotics, advertising, design thinking, and visualization. So that's pretty much about myself in a nutshell. I've been teaching in Bharati Vidyapeeth College of Fine Arts for more than 18 years now. And prior to that, my first journey into design started with a very esteemed design house in Pune, as well as internationally very well known, called Elephant Design. And that journey was a point where uh, I had a major shift in looking at design. And even today, Elephant Design is known for its work and its contribution in design. And I'm extremely fortunate that I could start my journey with that design house. So at the beginning, I would like to, talk about design a little bit, because this is one question that a lot of you probably may have as to what is design. So generally speaking, if you look up, in the dictionary or if you look up online, then you will find there are various design definitions which pertain to different branches of design. But holistically, if you see, then it is a discipline of solving problems. And it is a discipline which is about planning, structured planning for achieving certain goals and objectives for users specifically. So having said that, it is a very scientific approach, I can say, because you need to have a, a proper planning for that uh, goals. So you have to go through certain steps to get the designs right. For example, I have one of the graphics for design process in front of you, which talks about empathizing, defining, ideating, prototyping. and testing. So this is a general process for any kind of design. Now that design can be in any discipline. When I say that, there are various disciplines about which I will be talking shortly. But why I'm sharing this is because a lot of people feel that, they have a feeling that design is only about drawing, or design is only about sketching or making some lovely visuals. Yes, of course, your visual um, skills are very important, but at the same time, it is a very scientific approach towards solving some problem and achieving the goal. Now, talking about the branches, there are many branches in design, and you probably can be confused about the list. That's why I have put them in 3 different slots, and I have tried to put these disciplines in categorizations where they belong near to each other. But remember that they are also different disciplines and also interconnected, because they all are part of design. So starting with communication design is a broad name for a branch where you learn to design for the purpose of communication. So generally we talk and we communicate in a classroom scenario, or even in this presentation, you can hear me and that's how we are communicating. But that's not the only possibility, right? You are able to see me. So there is a visual communication that is also happening through gestures, and I'm also showing you a PowerPoint presentation. So that is another input that you're getting visually. So generally, when you talk about communication design, it is about designing visuals for purpose of communication. Now that purpose of communication can be varied. So it can be about education. So that becomes a e-learning design communication, or it could be for businesses. So it could also be brand communication. I hope you're getting the link of how communication design can be divided into different branches of design. Now let me talk about the second on the list. It is graphic design. Graphic design is a very broad term again. It means that the art or design or discipline of reproduction, and visuals, when they get reproduced, they are generally known as graphics. Um, Now in this era, it sounds very funny because, you feel that everything, pretty much anything can be reproduced, right? But imagine, say, 50 years back, or even just 20 years back, it was very difficult to reproduce an artwork. Today you have Xerox machines, you have computers, you have printers. So the graphic design term has come from there, and now it talks about all the visual communication again. So, whether you're calling it a graphic design or whether you're calling it a communication design, they have a lot of overlapping tenets. Now going to web design. Web design is again a part of graphic design as well as communication design, but design which is limited or which is dispensed through World Wide Web, so internet. Now game design is another very specialized design branch where, of course, I don't have to tell you about gaming because you guys probably are more into gaming than my generation. And you understand that somebody has to design these games, somebody has to design the visuals within these games, somebody has to design the flow of the game and the different structures where a person can actually enjoy and have that excitement. So that is all about game design. Information design, again, means when you are trying to deliver certain information, how to make it easiest to digest, easy to understand, and probably more effective in its format. So that is information design. And again, it is a part of communication design. Rather, graphic design is a method that is used for information design. So it's all very interlinked. Then there is interaction design. Now interaction design is a part of a design for a long time, but today when you talk about interaction design, it is generally understood about digital design. But even a book, for that matter, a simple book is always interactive, isn't it? any machine or any equipment that you use, it is interactive. You have as a human possibility of giving input and allowing the machine or the object to interact with you. So when you start designing for those interaction, then it becomes interaction design. And nowadays the term is more known regarding the application designs. Then there is a term called as user interface design, which means that designing all the interfaces which are used for interacting with machines. And then there is another umbrella term called user experience design. User experience design is integral in all designs, because it is essentially the experience that a user will get when the user is interacting with the uh, uh, product. So but again, it is also understood nowadays very allied to the digital aspect and application design. So that's one group that I have made, and it's not necessary that you have to group them in this fashion, but just for easier understanding. Now if I talk about other aspects, then there is product design. So product design nowadays, even mobile applications are known as product designs, but then you can also have a physical product which can be designed. Okay. Interior design, it's very close to architecture, and I guess I need not talk much about it, but it is also an aspect of design, and that's why I've added it, which is about designing the spaces for interior spaces, that is. Then there is furniture design, there is industrial design, automotive design, toy design, exhibition design. I mean, the list is exhaustive. I'll just mention them. If you want to know any specific design discipline, put it in the question and maybe we can discuss it later. So there is one more group that I have made, which is related to, lifestyle and fashion design. So you have fashion design, you have lifestyle design, you have fashion communication design. Now, fashion communication design, again, interestingly, it can be a part of communication design, but when it is applied specifically for the domain of fashion, it is called fashion communication. Then there is fashion management, there is accessory design, fashion technology, knitwear design, footwear design, apparel design, leather design, ceramic and glass design, textile design. So, I mean, these are the different branches that you generally find very popular across um, the opportunities that are there. Now let me talk about what are the qualities of a designer, right? Because if you are aspiring to become a designer, you need to understand what is it that you need to develop as a personality. So a designer is generally very good at experimenting things. He's not a person who is going to stick to the rules, but a person who will want to bend the rules and see if they help or benefit in functionality or ease of use of a product, or beneficial in one way or the other. Again, a person will love to explore. A person who is a designer generally needs to know about a lot of things, because you never know what you would be designing next. And that is why it is important that the person has to have a explorative attitude. And what I feel is, in our schools, generally we don't have that kind of an attitude, because the system is more about somebody telling you something and you learning it by hand, by heart, or uh, just understanding it and being able to reproduce it. But in design, if you want to become a good designer or get into design, then you start cultivating this attitude of exploring. Try asking questions whenever possible. Don't be afraid of asking questions. And another thing is, you need to develop good communication. Now, what I mean by that is not that you have to have excellent English or Marathi or Hindi or language per se, but you should be able to explain what is in your mind and what you're planning and thinking effectively, either to the client or to your colleagues, to become a better designer. One more thing that I find very important is creativity. And creativity comes with exploring and experimentation, I believe. And of course, the artistic taste. But when I say that, it doesn't mean that I'm saying that, you have to be a great portrait artist or a landscape artist. It's not like that. I mean, if you have those skills, or if you have a good drawing skills, it is very good. It is an asset for you. However, if you don't have that, you can develop that. And being creative doesn't necessarily mean that you have to be excellent uh, uh, drawing person, but it means that you should have an open mind. Also, that comes with good observation. You should be able to observe things properly, and you should be able to digest things before you start concluding. Of course, eye for detailing is also very, very important as a designer. Now, education in design. What are the opportunities for education in design? Now in India, you do have undergraduate programs, postgraduate programs, and you also have PhD level opportunities and courses in design. So having said that, what are the different popular design courses? So Bachelor of Design, generally known as BDes, is one of the popular programs. Then you have Bachelor of Fine Arts, which is BFA. Now, remember that within each one of them, there could be a specialization. For example, you can do BDes with graphic design, communication design, or you can do BDes with a lifestyle design. You can do BDes with maybe animation. Similarly, with Bachelor of Fine Arts, you can do BFA with Applied Arts, which is more about communication design, or else there are many other options which you can look up. Similarly, you have Bachelor of Visual Arts, you have Bachelor of Vocational Education, Bachelor of Fashion Technology, and Bachelor of Arts, BA programs, and Bachelor of Science, BSc programs. Now remember, the distinction, why I have grouped them differently is because the top four and also middle one, they are professional programs. And in India specifically, remember that BA and BSc programs are not considered as professional programs. So if you're aiming at admissions, because abroad this distinction is not so prominent, but here in India it is extremely prominent. You need to understand that if you are doing a professional course, it has a different value. Like for example, the Arch in architecture, it's a professional course. Similarly, BDes, BFA, BBA, these are the professional courses. Also, you can go and do your masters. Similarly, in MDes, MFA, MVA, and so on. You can also do your MA and MSc program. Now, what do designers do? Now, I just showed you a huge list of possibilities for design disciplines. So generally what I believe is that, designers are the people who change the world. I mean, they are the people who are bringing to you almost everything that you're using, isn't it? Be it a house, be it a space that you're using, be it an application on a mobile that you use every day, be it any software, it is a designed software. Be it a costume that you're wearing, or even the roads that are being planned, everything is designed. And that's why designers are the people who actually are shaping the world. Okay. And the value of designers is increasing day by day. Now, if you want to take admission to Design Institute, any of the design institutes, then generally what you need to do is, you go and look at that university or that institute's process of admission. Because every university, every institute may have a set design aptitude which is required. Generally, the format is where you have a design test, and that test is generally a studio test, and then it is also complemented with a personal interview or a portfolio round. So you need to find out what is applicable for what institute or university. Now, when you're choosing a design institute, what is it that you need to look for? In fact, any institute for education, you must make sure that the institute or the college that you're going to attend, it has approvals like AICT, which is All India Council for Technical Education, or UGC, because these are the bodies, authoritative bodies, which are very, very important to approve institutions, and you need to study from such institutions. Also look at the universities and find out whether these universities are, well accepted universities. Look for placements. Look for the placements that the university is offering, and you can also look for the alumni of that institute, because alumni of an institute gives you a great insight into what the institute is going to be like. Now I will like to talk a little bit about my institute, which is Bharati Vidyapeeth College of Fine Arts. So Bharati Vidyapeeth is offering two courses. The college that I am teaching in, it's called Bharati Vidyapeeth College of Fine Arts, and it is offering a program called BFA. Now this program, BFA, is a 4-year program offering degree in applied arts. Okay, and it is affiliated to Savitribai Phule Pune University. It is very important for you to know that, because the degree that you get, it is from Pune University. Also, the specializations and more information you can get if you visit the institute. Now, Bharati Vidyapeeth is also running another program, which is called BVA program. Now, this program is under Bharati Vidyapeeth Deemed University, which is again a esteemed university, and one of the 10 universities which are coveted universities, which are for foreign students. So generally a foreign student who comes, top 10 universities that they look for, Bharati Vidyapeeth Deemed University is one of them. So this program is also a very good program, again 4-year degree program under Bharati Vidyapeeth School of Visual Arts. Okay. Now BFA is affiliated to AICT, and BVA program is under UGC. This is a huge institute that I work in, and with all the state-of-art infrastructure. If you're interested, you can just visit. It's not necessary that you have to take admissions. You can visit and look up for me. I'll be happy to take a tour with you and show you things. Now, generally, if you do a BFA program from Bharati Vidyapeeth, what are the kind of placements that are coming in? So generally our students, and now looking at this list, you will see that it's a vast array of possibilities. So few of our students get into publication industry, few of them, get into design houses, exhibition design, advertising, film and theater, packaging design, print industry, merchandising, e-learning, web design, UI, UX. Then few of our students become experts in photography, and they either do cinematography or they do industrial fashion and tabletop photographies, those kind of things. They start their studios either, or they work with some other photographers. And then you also have software companies, multinational companies, which hire our students for the user interface and user experience design. You have product design, animation industry, creative content writing, mass media communication sector, set design. So pretty much you will see that a BFA student is required almost everywhere. If you want to know more, I'm giving you a few numbers. You can take a screenshot of this screen, and maybe you can connect with them later. Okay, but there are many other institutes also, and you can look them up as well in Pune as well as across India. Now, what is the future of design? In my understanding, future of design is extremely bright, because there is an opportunity at every step. Now, for example, I'll just like to say this, that imagine now, presently we are in a pandemic, right? We are facing a very bad situation because of COVID, and the world is changing completely, isn't it? Now, the way people are going to behave, the way people are going to need things, the way people are going to use objects, spaces, everything is going to change. And the opportunities for designers to create interventions in these sectors is also going to increase. So if you are a visual communicator, definitely or a designer of any other branch, you will definitely have good opportunities. that's pretty much about what I wanted to say. But if you have any questions, please ask, and I'll be happy to answer them. So thank you so much. And my presentation for today is done. So yeah.
Thank you. Thank you very much, ma'am, for the great presentation. I would like to invite Divya ma'am now to get her presentation on architecture. Divya ma'am, if you can please come in. Yes.
Yes.
I will put you your video on spotlight. Yeah. Okay. Perfect.
Yes.
Yes. Thank you. Yes. Yes. Okay.
I will share my screen.
Yes. Yes, ma'am. Your screen is visible.
Visible? Yeah.
Your screen is visible.
Yeah. Yes. So, good evening, everybody. I would like to thank ARH and Mr. Adventure for giving me this opportunity to talk to young minds, future students and friends. I'm Divya. I'm an architect, designer, sustainability expert, and a teacher. I have a BArch and MArch from Pune University, MArch specializing in environmental architecture, and a certification in project management from University of California, Berkeley. So I play multiple roles: sustainability expert, architect, designer, teacher. And I'll usually say to my students, I am what I am because you are. So joining me today is Achyut, a third-year student at BIT School of Architecture. Hi, Achyut.
Hello, ma'am. Hi, everyone. Nice to see you all today. Ma'am, actually, I always wonder what is architecture and why I'm choosing this field. Like, I had so many questions before I became a student. I always thought about the duration, what would I study, will I only study buildings and all.
So let's try and understand what is architecture. It's the art or practice of designing and constructing buildings. So architecture is from the Latin word architectura, a word used to describe the job of an architect. What do you see when you travel? We often relate and identify cities across the world with respect to buildings there. So if you go to Paris, what would you see? Maybe you could type your answers in the chat box and we can look at the answers later. What would you see at Paris? I really want this to be into that. Akshit, maybe you can hint it.
Eiffel Tower is something that is a.
Yeah, we got a
Yes,
response.
Eiffel Tower. Yes, that's right. So you would see the Eiffel Tower. At Agra, what would you see? Agra? Nobody has been to Agra? Taj Mahal. Yes, that's right. Cairo, Egypt, what would you see? Pyramid. Yes, and the Sphinx, because it's specifically at that location. Rome, what would you see in Rome? Maybe that's a very... Do you know what this is? Have you seen the movie Gladiator?
The Colosseum.
This is called the Colosseum. Yes. So architecture is many types. It's iconic, it's social, which is need-based. It could also be spiritual. But what is architecture? So what it takes to be an architecture student, maybe. So as Shruti ma'am has already highlighted, you need to explore, create, and observe. This is a quote by author Sonia Teklai. She says, I just sit back and observe. You'll learn more that way. Architecture is an amalgamation of all art. Arthur?
Hello.
Yeah. So Arthur, you're right. In a way, people have a certain image of what architects are. You must have a lot of questions. Do I need to learn to sketch? Do I need to learn a lot of other things? But is this really true? Let us know from Archit.
Yeah, like, do I really need to be good at drawing or sketching? But I always used to watch a series called How I Met Your Mother, where Ted Mosby, the architect, is smart, ambitious, and designs skyscrapers. Like those huge buildings. I always thought architects would be that way, like smart, ambitious. On the other hand, the historical landmarks I always visited since I was a child made me wonder: did architects exist back then too?
So architecture is a 5-year course. And yes, knowledge of sketching is good, although not compulsory. You are trained to develop these and many such skills during the course. As a student, I wasn't perfect either. You learn and you grow with the course. There also has been a certain image of architects, like you already mentioned, Ted Mosby and Deepika Padukone was portrayed as an architect in Peak. But, uh, we are much more than what is portrayed, and it's often not the truth. What characters on the screen look like are not lifelike, not often lifelike portrayals. And architects do a lot more. We design buildings, we are designers, campuses, skyscrapers, cities, sustainable buildings, and we might even design automobiles. So we can be historians, we can be planners. I still cherish my life as a student. How is life at Brick, Ashtu? Would you share with all of us?
Yeah, why not? It's like when I entered in architecture, I was really nervous, and I think most of you will be. I was scared, and most of you will be, yeah. But my friends and my teachers, like Divya ma'am, helped me in this journey. We were exposed to multiple professionals. We heard their stories. We learned from our seniors' works. We work hard and we partied even harder. We study village and towns, like we stay, travel, measure, and study during these trips. Like you can see now, these are kind of studies we did at the settlement tour. So this is one of the projects that we were given. So we had to design a tourist facility center. So these are kind of my sketches, like sheets you can see on the screen. So basically these are like little bit view of my work. And we had a lot of fun also. Then there comes the an annual event in Thua, where we have a week-long celebration of architectural workshops showcasing our talent, a cultural night, and many cultural sports and fun activities. We work on competitions together. So now you can see the different campus design, and you can see the photos. So yeah, so we work like in competitions, juniors, seniors alike, with the guidance of our teachers, and add to our skills, knowledge, and learn more each day.
I totally relate to your experience. Being a student was always so enjoyable. Dr. B.V. Doshi, the Pritzker Prize winner for Architecture 2018, has always been my idol. His work is sensitive, responsive to climate, and always talks about stories of life. There are many more such architects who've been my inspiration. Roddy Baker, South Korea, Daniel Libeskind, Zaha Hadid, Peter Eisenman, and the list goes on. As a student, I was really average, but I learned and paved my way through. My friends, family, and my teachers have a big contribution to who I am today. So brick is my workplace. So proud of you know, so proud to be a part of this design campus. Very dynamic.
Ma'am, I really can't believe that you were an average student, but if you say so, I want to believe you. Ma'am, tell me about how you manage to balance projects and teaching also.
My students are my friends. I draw from their energy. And on campus, I'm their professor. Off campus, I'm an architect and a designer. I had the chance to work with many firms in India and abroad, which taught me many skills, which add to my profession and teaching every day. I look up to my parents and teachers who set an example to balance various roles together. They are my inspiration. Akshay, tell me the way you look at failure. Has that changed?
He, yeah, they are actually, there is a a noticeable change in the way you look at spaces now. When I go out with family or friends, I observe buildings with their elements, characteristics, and details, all that intrigue me.
I can understand that. Often the conversations that I have with my colleagues, friends and family also are indirectly somehow related to architecture. And we just, as architects, start falling in love with what we do and design. There have been studies stating that well-designed spaces with good and adequate light and ventilation can help people with their ailments and heal them faster. That tells us a lot about what impact well-designed spaces and architecture can have on us. For example, there has been a continuous innovation in the field of new building materials and incorporating various waste materials which do not decompose faster like plastic into building materials and use them better in our buildings. As Mahatma Gandhi said, be the change you want to see.
Yeah, totally true. Ma'am, what do you think about after I graduate? Like, what should I do? Masters? What are my options? I have so many questions and so many examples. What do you think?
Graduation is the first step. You could take a breather for an year, take a break, and explore your options. Uh, just understand what you like, which field draws you. I did the same. I worked for an year. I had an inclination towards sustainability and climate responsive building design. And I pursued my interest and furthered this with my master's in MIT. Once you are a graduate, you are a designer. You don't need to always practice architecture. Many of my friends are cinematographers, set designers, and directors. Ratan Tata and Anand Mahindra are both architects and leading businessmen in the automobile sector. Piru Modi was one of the few architects who was a civil servant. A lot of architects get into fields like product designing, game designing, photography, and being artists. By the time you finish your fourth year, many students these days have a very strong inclination and passion towards one or more allied fields of architecture. I would say easy learn. Although master's is not a prerequisite, once you graduate and register as an architect, you can always start your own practice and partner with your seniors or classmates. Many young entrepreneurs partner with friends and classmates to form a firm. And we've seen that grow in the last few years. Learning never stops. So the right time to add to your knowledge is what you decide. With this, I wish you all the best and hope to see few familiar faces soon. Thanks.
Thank you, ma'am, for the great presentation. It was lovely, very interactive, very fun. We learned a lot of things. So, okay, now I want to talk to students and parents alike. Great presentation. Both the speakers are very esteemed professionals in their own fields. Personally, I find it very inspiring to get a chance to listen to stories and experiences and people who have trodden on the path that you wish to walk one day. Both the presentations were extremely important. I thank both the speakers. But there is one question that I want to pose to all of you, all the students who are maybe working for architecture, looking forward to architecture, design, or fashion. It could be any creative field for that matter. And the question that I want to pose is, should you should you go for these fields? I'm not questioning the career prospects and all, but when you say that I want to go for architecture, I want to question your choice of architecture. Let me explain what I mean by that. In my career, I have met a number of parents and students, and they come to me for mentorship, and sometimes they change the field. Sometimes they go from architecture to design. Sometimes they switch from design to fashion. Sometimes they switch from fashion to architecture. And a lot of time it has also happened. Maybe Divya ma'am and Shruti ma'am will also confirm this with me, that a lot of times students get into a course and then they drop out and then they follow something else. So why does this happen? Why does it happen that even when the student cracks the entrance exam very nicely, and they are performing well, but somewhere down the line they struggle and they drop out and they follow something else? And this is where I began to question the whole process. Like there are the entrance exam, there is coaching, there is this, that, but are we missing on something? Are we missing on an integral part? And that's what I want to talk to you about. I would like to share my presentation with you guys on this. This give me a second. Yeah. So my name is Ajinkya Harshay. I'm the Chief Mentor and Director of ARH Design Academy, and I'll be sharing my journey in mentoring creative souls over the last 6 years. The question that I want to ask, the argument that I want to put across is, before you start your journey in this field, it is extremely, extremely important to find the right path for you. You have to find the right path for you, because architecture is a great field, design is a great field, fashion is a great, every field is great, but how do you know which is the right path for you? And this is where I want to ask another question: are aptitude tests enough? Let me explain what I'm trying to say. A lot of parents come to me and students come to me with the all 3 or 4 aptitude tests, and they suggest that this person should go for graphic design or animation design or product design or architecture. But still, as I said, I see them struggling in the coaching period, or I see them struggling in the college period. And that's where I started asking questions, that are we missing on something altogether? Are we missing that human touch? Are we missing that inclination towards of a person towards something particular? And is there any way we can do before we get into these courses that help us find the right way, to find the right path for ourselves? And that's where I started experimenting with something known as a Pathfinder badge. See, before you go into the sea, you cannot just dive right away into the sea. You have to test the waters. And in creative fields, as the Shruti ma'am was explaining, there are so many fields. How do you know exactly where is your passion? Obviously, you can go and figure out in the course, but do I go for industrial design? Do I go for graphic design? Do I go for fashion? And that's where the experimentation part of the process comes into play. So my suggestion for testing the waters, to before finalizing your process, play around. Play around to different things. Play around with architecture, play around with model making, play around with clay modeling, play around with graphic marketing. And those who have attended the Pathfinder badge, they know what I'm talking about, right? So just play around with a lot of activities. But when you are done with that activities, ask somebody to respond, to check how do you respond to a newly absorbed information. Because if those who have attended the Pathfinder batch, they know that I have never taught a single thing in the Pathfinder batch. Not a single line. I never asked you to sketch, never asked you to draw. I told you something which was kind of new to you, and you had to do a assignment on that, right? Then observing, like the one thing that I was doing with that is I was observing their reactions and responses to this new information and identifying the general behavior patterns. Let me explain what I'm saying. So there was this assignment where they had to create a story. So some of the students came up with a story where there was an architectural point of view or a story building point of view. Some of them were more focused on character design. So when you play around with things which are new to you, and if you get the responses checked with the right person, he can tell you where your inclination lies. If I teach you spatial ability, you will learn spatial ability. But the idea of the Pathfinder batch was not to teach you anything. It was to test your raw wisdom. It was to test your basic inclination or natural inclination towards something. So this is the first idea. Then look forward. Let's say, for example, I like something. I like this activity, right? What do I do next? Do I take admission directly? Maybe not. Maybe look forward. Maybe get to know more about the fields. Talk to students and professionals who are in the field. So this is what we did in our art festival. If you have observed, for every session that was there in the Pathfinder batch, there was a session in Run where model makers, photographers, architects, graphic designer, game designer, animators, they came and they told you about how their educational journey was. So what that does, so since I have some interest in, let's say, animation, I talk to somebody who has been through that process and is going to be a professional in that process, right? And finally, meet your heroes, meet the people who wish to, who are doing something that you want to do. And that's what we are doing today. We are talking to Diva ma'am and Shruti ma'am about their experiences, their stories, their insights about the field, and explore the field, see what are the career prospects are there and what are the different possibilities before venturing out, before committing to any course, I would say, or even a mentorship program if that is that you're looking for. Now, according to me, there are 3 A's of a successful career. First one is aptitude. Everyone talks a lot about aptitude. I talk about that, but I also want to talk about the attitude, the personality traits, the behavioral pattern that a person has. And also I want to talk about the third A, which is affection. Let's go one by one. So aptitude includes your awareness about the field, because if I have an inclination towards the field, if I have interest, I'll definitely search about that thing, what is there, what is not there. I need a logical ability. Trust me, if you are going to be a designer, you need to develop a logic for everything, that every design decision that you make. You need to have a very good non-verbal ability, a good verbal ability. You have to have a good mental ability. All the entrance tests that we see, all that they are checking is you have these abilities or not. Then you have arithmetic ability, very important. A lot of people ask me, sir, architecture mein maths hota hai kya, integration, derivation? Not really, but you need an arithmetic ability. In mathematics, in graphic design also, you need to be able to think in a mathematical way, how the rule of third is going to work, how are you going to fix a certain design in some sort of paper. There is a lot of geometry involved in graphic design. Then what about the design awareness? How aware are you about the field and the world around you? So this is the first A, the aptitude part. But then we also have an aptitude part, and that's a very important thing. And I would say according to me, attitude is more important than your attitude at some point of time. Because attitude denotes your self-awareness. Do you know what you want to do? Do you know what your dreams are? Do you know what type of life do you want for yourself? Right? That's also a factor. Just because I am good at 3D does not mean that I have to become a graphic architect. I also have to check, do I have the inclination towards it? Do I have that hardworking ability in me? Right? In Pathfinder batch, if you notice, I never asked you to attend a class. I never asked you to design, submit forcefully. The whole point was to check your self-awareness, your self-motivation. I think both our speakers will agree with me that if you are not self-motivated, if you need a push on a very regular basis, You have to develop that, because as an architect or as a designer, self motivation is something that is extremely important for you. And then there are emotional intelligence also. There is empathy, as Shruti ma'am was talking about. There is humanitarian values. There is sensitivity to the things around you, the emotional reaction that you might invoke in people. And last but not least, there is affection towards something. There is inclination. There is your interest. So, what about your hobbies? What about your interest? What hobbies do you have? What are your ambitions in life? And how much dedicated are you to get into that field? How much are you willing to put in? So these are the three aspects of a successful career for me. And then there is a great barrier, because all these fields, if you want to get into a course, there is an entrance exam, right? And I'll talk about entrance exam in a short. So entrance exams are nothing but a, a check, a barrier that they want to, it's basically a filter, right? And what all they want to check is, what do they want to check is that person have the ability of, not a very advanced ability, but a basic aptitude and dedication to be in that field, correct? Then who is the perfect candidate according to them? जैसे नाटा है, नाटा के बारे में we'll talk about in a while. They have certain guidelines of what they are looking for in a candidate, and they design their test accordingly. And how do they check it? Let's have a look. So for example, let's talk about NATA. NATA is an architecture entrance exam. Almost 95% or more than that architecture schools across Maharashtra accept admission based on your NATA score. So let's see what they are willing to check through NATA. So what would a person interested in architecture be like? What would be his persona? So if somebody is really interested in architecture, he would have he would be interested in buildings, architects, geography. So he would read about that stuff. He would have a critical thinking ability, good non-verbal ability, because you need to process the information. Client gives you the brief, and then you have to conceptualize and put it into a tangible world. Then might have visited a construction site few times, so he can identify common building elements and materials. So these are all, this comes under affection, right? And lastly, you need a little bit of design awareness, a little bit of color theory, knowledge of color theory, a sense of aesthetics also. And if you club them up all together, that is your Nataka MCQ section. It is that simple. It does not get any simpler than this. They don't want you, they don't want to make admission in architecture difficult, but they just want to put a filter between who can be a good architect and who does not have the aptitude. Let's talk about drawing part. So what would be the drawing aspect of NATA says about what they are looking for? Sense of composition. I'll give a short example. I have talked to my kids about it a lot of times. 2D composition is a question, those who know about it. It's a very simplified version of what you do as an architect. You design bedroom, hall, kitchen together. Usko simplify kar do, you get a 2D composition ka question. Sense of massing and sciography, to check that you have a 3D composition ka question. And your observation and sketching skills, and there is memory drawing. You combine them and you have a NATA drawing section in front of you. It's as simple as that. It's they are not difficult. It's just how your inclination is towards things. And let's talk about design entrance exam also. Actually, Shruti ma'am covered a great deal of what it takes to be a good designer, but I would like to still go through them again. Who is a good designer? A good designer has a good observation of around of the world around you, right? He or she has to be has the ability to think of things in a non-conventional manner, right? uh, in a different manner, in a manner that has never been thought before. Solving problems with the limited resources. If I give you the resources, you can solve the problem. But what about if you have limited resources? How much creativity can you build upon on that factor? Then there is logic and reason. I talked about that. You need to be a very logical person to be an architect. And lastly, eye for aesthetics, color theory, eye for detail, stuff like that. और if you take पिछले कितने भी सालों का आप NID का, MIT का, किसी भी कॉलेज का एंट्रेंस एग्जाम उठा के देख लो, सारे क्वेश्चन जो आएंगे वो इसी बेसिस पे आएंगे. So these are your entrance exams. Let me give you a general idea of what entrance exams are there. One thing I forgot: ability to tackle problems you have never heard of or tackled before. So this is also an ability. If you get a new information, how do you tackle it in a limited period of time? So there are what are the entrance exams for this field? So if for architecture you have NATA, which is National Aptitude Test of in Architecture, and you have JEE Paper 2. Most of you have heard about it. Then in design entrance exam, BDes and MDes and PFA and PSC as well. NID is there. Then UCEED and SEED are the exam. UCEED is for Bachelor of Design for IIT Powai, Guwahati and Jabalpur. SEED is for Masters. And then you have private institutes and deemed university like Bharati Vidyapeeth University, as ma'am was speaking about. There is MIT also, UID also, Symbiosis also. They have their own exam, and they have a two-step admission process. In the first phase, they have DAT, which is Design Aptitude Test. In the second phase, you have the studio test and the personal interview round. जिसके बारे में ma'am has spoken in detail. And for fashion, you have NIFT, which has across 16 centers in India. There is also School of Fashion Technology, SOFT in Pune. And private institutes also offer fashion degrees. So once you know what is the right path for you, you have the right aptitude, you have the right attitude, you have the right inclination, what is the way ahead? You know now you are ready to commit to architecture and design or fashion. How do you move forward? What is the way ahead? And the question that a lot of people might be asking, how do I prepare for the entrance exams? Okay, it's as simple as that. See, you have the world at your fingertips right now. Just make a simple Google search. What is the syllabus for NATA, JEE? There are a lot of YouTube channels ready to help you there. There are a lot of Pinterest drawings about what type of work is expected in NID and stuff like that. Also, very simple thing. Just go to their website. Check out the syllabus, check out the sample papers, and you will get a very clear idea about which is the general direction that you want to go for. But how do you really prepare for entrance exam? Because you know all the information, paper patterns, but where do you search? What do you search for? And that's where another question I want to pose is, how would a person interested in the field be like? जो person इसमें in field में interested है, how would what will be his interest? What will be his daily lifestyle? वो कितना sketch करता होगा, किस बारे में sketch करता होगा, what type of information he would need to collect, what he would consume on Instagram and YouTube and other stuff. And once you figure out the answer to these questions, you just need to apply it in your life and you are good to go. That's it. But there is a catch. As I said, you have the world at your fingertips. Internet has free flowing information. There is nobody stopping you from getting any information in the world whatsoever. But it is scattered and clouded. It's a very noisy world out there. You are scrolling through Instagram and you are looking for architecture pages, and somehow Instagram decides to show you a Tarak Mehta meme, which is not even funny. So then from there it's all rabbit hole. It's a wild goose chase from there. So what do we do in such case? And what about your accountability? So okay, you listen to this talk, you are very motivated and you research and this that, but the important thing in design is persistence also. कि तुम ये चीज कितना time persist कर सकते हो? How do you, and also how do you keep track of your progress, if you are moving in the right direction or not? How do you make sure that you are on the right track? How do you know that whatever you are watching on YouTube is guiding you towards the right path? And look, it's a competitive world. It's a brutal world out there. Everybody is preparing for this entrance exam. The competition is huge there. And everybody wants to get into the best institute. And while everyone is looking to get into best institutes, and that requires a lot of persistent efforts in the right direction. You need feedback on your work, and you need support system also to support you when you are feeling low or low down. And that's why the second question that I want to pose is, do you need coaching? I would say not really, but you need a mentor. You need a person who would keep you accountable. You need somebody who has experience in these things and who would be able to guide you properly for that particular thing. What is the role of a mentor in your life? You need a mentor to provide you with a streamlined pipeline of study materials, test series, and reviews and whatnot. right? Because you need practice. Let's be real. You want to get into good college, you need the study material, you need test series, you need reviews, and you need feedback system, all that stuff. Then he also keeps track of your progress, nudging you towards the right direction if you move somewhere differently. Uh, and also, what a mentor can do for you, he can provide. A mentor should be able to prepare you for the entrance exam. There is no doubt about that. But he should also be preparing for the course itself. कई बार मैंने ऐसा देखा है कि नाटा में बहुत अच्छा स्कोर आ जाता है बट नॉट एबल टू परफॉर्म वेल इन देयर कॉलेज. कंफ्यूज हो जाता है काफी बच्चे कि अभी क्या करना है, व्हाट टू डू नेक्स्ट. So he should prepare you for entrance exam. No, it's his job to do that, his or her. But at the end of the day, he should be able to, prepare you for the course itself from emotional point of view, from mental point of view, from spiritual point of view also. A mentor is someone who gives you creative freedom and liberty. A mentor हम अपने आइडियाज कभी तुम्हारे ऊपर नहीं थोपता है. He is someone who brings out the best in you. He brings out the creativity in you. He also helps you in build your portfolio, hobbies and ambitions. Uh, and he's a support system basically. He or she is a support system. He helps you with in a very real life world कि एग्जाम का फॉर्म कब भरना है, कैसे भरना है, कॉलेज कौन से डालने हैं. ऑल्सो इमोशनल लेवल पे भी तुम्हें कई बार यू नीड अ लॉट ऑफ मोटिवेशन एंड सपोर्ट. सो दैट्स द जॉब of a mentor. And the most important thing is a mentor can do is he can connect you with a community. See, man is a social animal, right? We thrive in social settings. And if you are part of a community, if you are part of a clan who are working towards same common goal, it would be very healthy for you to join that group because uh, सबका with a healthy competition, everybody's talent will come up. So he also connects with a community, and that's where I want to come into play. As I said, I'm the director of ARH Design Academy, and I've been doing this for last 6 years now. I have counseled number of students, and I have taught for architecture, design, fashion. My students are in JJ, NID, brick school में मेरे काफी सारे बच्चे हैं. So what do we do? How do we do it? So whatever I talked about, whatever the philosophies we talked about, we apply the same philosophy for our courses. We focus on individual attention, activity-based learning. My students will relate to this. They have a lot of activities to do. Rather than teaching them through theory, it's always better to learn through practice, through hands-on experience. Honoring their uniqueness. Everybody has their own uniqueness and you need to honor them. It's not a factory. You cannot go in a factory ki ye seekh lo aise ho jayega, ye seekh lo aise ho jayega. You have to bring out the best in you. So that's something that we do. There are a lot of workshop and guest lectures and sessions like this happening. We always have outdoor session, live sketches. So students get exposed to different things. And then there is support system also at the end of the day where admission point of view से हो या किस कौन से कॉलेज का फॉर्म भरना है, कैसे भरना है, that's also support system is there. And what courses do we offer? We offer 2-year, 1-year and short-term courses in architecture, which are for NATA and JEE. For design, we have the same 2-year, 1-year and short-term courses for NID, UCED, MIT, UID and Symbiosis. And for fashion also, we have the same courses. The admission for this academic year are open, but the admissions are going to happen through portfolio. I need to check your portfolio first. There will be an aptitude test, which a lot of people have given. There will be a counseling, one-to-one counseling, and lastly, there will be a demo session, which I'll be talking about. Because I want to make sure that मैं जो पढ़ा रहा हूँ वो तुम्हें समझे और तुम जो बोलना चाहते हो मुझे समझे. So there is also a demo session. Next Sunday, we have an exam orientation session where we'll be talking about every exam in extreme detail. So it will be on 21st of June at 4 p.m. on Zoom. Those who are interested, please let me know. I'll get the details to you. Lastly, I want to talk about what is the big picture. Okay. All right. See, you are tomorrow's future. You are tomorrow's builders. You are the movers and shakers. You are going to design the world around us where we'll be living, and it is your responsibility to be the best that you can be. It is your responsibility where you build a better future, better world for everybody around you, right? And again, one thing that I want to say is, see, it's a brutal world out there, as I said. तुम अगर इस तरह से जो कि सब easy होगा life में, it is not like that. You need some real advice also. It's a brutal world out there, and it's a tough world. And these fields, when you are looking for passion, these are very it's a very hectic, not hectic, but very intensive lifestyle in this field. It's a very demanding lifestyle in this field. But as one of my favorite author, Mark Manson, has said, you never choose your pleasures. You should never choose your pleasures. You should always choose your pain. So when I say you want to go for architecture, you want to go for design, you want to go for fashion, or any creative field for that matter, the most important thing is to have a vision. Because if you have a vision and there are some hardships that come into play while you pursue these fields, you will get up and you will be able to walk from there. So have a vision for yourself. Choose your pain very wisely. That's when you will be able to choose your pleasures accordingly. I would like to wish you best of luck for your future journeys, and I would like to end my talk here. Thank you for listening to me, and we'll open to question answer sessions now. So if you have any questions for Shruti ma'am or Divya ma'am, please go forward. We have a question from Sahil. He said, could you please tell us more about set design as a discipline and its portion? Pradnya, you have a question. Will you please ask in the chat, please? Ma'am, would you like to come in for the set design wala query? Shruti ma'am?
Yeah, sure.
Yes.
So, generally, the BFA students, when they graduate, one of the options that they have is to get into set design, or even for that matter, art direction, which is a great field to be in. So, set design is very close to exhibition design also, but there is a difference. So, how do you go about it? I mean, as a visual communicator, you are learning basically the aspect of communication design and visual design. But set design also requires a little bit of structural design understanding. And that is why it is not a purely visual design branch. And Bharati Vidyapeeth offers you one of the topics as we start from 3D, and then we go towards teaching the structural aspects of design, and they come in handy when you are doing the set design. However, you don't have a specialization within a BFA for a set design as such. That doesn't stop you from pursuing that possibility. Now, another thing is that BFA is a basic program. What I mean by that is it is trying to instill the foundation of design within a student. And for masters, the students can move on to various fields. For example, the same BFA program student, from the same batch, one can go for content design, or one can go for photography, the other can go for set design or art direction, or exhibition design for the masters. And the admissions kind of, for these programs for masters, they consider BFA as a valid program. So please remember that after doing the BFA, if you don't want to start work immediately, and if you want to do masters also, you have different possibilities. So that's what I would like to say.
Thank you, ma'am.
And there are so many events happening around, and set design is a part of a temporary structure, right? It's not a permanent structure like a house. So there are different concerns that you need to address. And once you enroll for any basic design program, you start understanding these nuances.
Perfect. We have a question from Pradnya. Ma'am, it is, I think it's directed to you, Shruti, Divya ma'am. What should we choose after BArch, MArch or interior design if I have interest in both?
Okay. So there are especially at BRICS, we have a diploma course, which is for 4 years, which is in interior design. So if you're specifically inclined towards interior design, you're very sure about it, then instead of doing BR, you could try that. But if you have an inclination in interior design after BR, you could do a MDes course, which is a Master in Design course. After that, you can get into furniture design and specific products. That will really help you. I hope I've answered your question.
Yes. We have another question directed at Divya ma'am from Tejashri Konade. Ma'am, is architecture only about buildings and landscape, or what is it about? Very interesting.
We today during the presentation, I wanted to involve my students because I wanted to make it look like a conversation. It is that simple. But architecture has a lot of facets. It's just not about buildings. It's just not about what is in a building. It expands much after or beyond that. So I'm an environmental architect. I can plan cities. I can do environmental planning for a neighborhood, for a society, and for a city. So it is not restricted to buildings and landscape. It is much more.
Hansraj has a question, ma'am. What do entrance exam look for in design exam? In what aspect a student should be excel in those? Shruti ma'am, if you would like to come in on this, please.
Yeah, sure. So, entrance exams for design are varied. It depends on what institute, what university you're trying to apply. For example, now suppose if you want to do BFA program, in Bharati Vidyapeeth, but the entrance exam is a common entrance exam for the entire Maharashtra government, which is MHCET. So unless and until you have given that entrance exam, you cannot appear for any BFA program, whether it is conducted in JJ School of Art or Rachana in Bombay or Bharati Vidyapeeth for that matter. Similarly, if you're going for NID or IDC programs, then also they have their set patterns for the entrances. Now your question is what you should excel at. Because it is, I was telling you that it is about making choices in design. It is very important that you explore as much as you can. There are certain subjects which are basics of any form of design. For example, color is there, composition is there, perspective is there. So these, and general knowledge about design. So these are the things that you should read more about. And more than becoming an expert in something, you try to give your brain some teasers regarding solving problems. And if you can do that, and if you can present them through sketches, then it becomes a good possibility for you to pass. Yeah.
Yes. Ma'am, I have another question directed at you from Akshay Zadhav. Can you please guide me about animation?
Yeah, sorry. Animation, yes, absolutely. Animation is nothing but moving images, right? So it is a strong part of any program. If you consider visual communication, if you consider graphic design, you can still go towards animation. So animation, there are two things. One is the software that you use for creating animation, and the other is actually the drawing aspect. And drawing is very, very important. Sketching, drawing, illustrations are integral part of animation. But apart from that, now you have motion graphics, for which you can just work on computers and create animations without even drawing a single human figure. So what I'm trying to say is, if you want to do animation, your basics of design have to be good, your visualization has to be developed, and your drawing, you need to work on your drawing. Within animation also, if you want to go for 2D animation, 3D animation, there are differences in that. For 2D animation, the traditional process is cell by cell animation, or onion skinning, that is what it is called. So if you are doing that kind of an animation, then you have to have a drawing base. but you can do animation using stop motion, you can do animation with clay, you can work on computer generated animation. So these are different aspects within animation. Start by doing sketching for animation is what I will say. And for masters, you can choose animation if you are choosing any basic program for design. Why I say this is because if you get directly into animation, then either you will end up learning only the softwares, which is not a very good idea, because in my understanding, a good animator is like a good director. He has to understand the flow of events. He has to understand how behavior, human behavior, and even the perspectives. So it is better that you start by uh, polishing your drawing skills.
I have a question somebody has sent in private to Divya ma'am specifically. Ma'am, what about the masters in India versus masters in US or in any foreign countries for that matter? I think a lot of people have that question. Divya ma'am, please.
Given the current situation, uh, I would say India has grown leaps and bounds in terms of its education. I have personally done my master's in India. I only did a certification course, which was like a exposure come experiential course for me outside India. So there are two aspects in this. If you're sure that you want to be in India later for a couple of at least maybe 5 to 6 years, then stick to India, do your masters in India, pursue your career in India. If you're sure you want to go abroad and explore something, then you should do a master outside. But having said that, there is no direct comparison. It is apples and oranges. It also depends on what kind of masters, what is the allied field, uh, whether how much value addition it is going to do to the kind of career you want to take ahead. All these factors need to be considered before you even start thinking about masters. It is not a mandate, like I said. For architects, you can start practicing immediately after you graduate. Uh, but masters has different advantages. If you want a specialization, suppose there are urban designers who study urban areas, like they study cities, they will study Pune, Delhi, historical cities, and they would help in designing and doing something better within the city. Now, for that, you would need additional training, additional education, and that is why that's kind of master. It really depends on what you want to do ahead and whether you want to stay in the country or be outside in the city.
Okay, thanks, ma'am.
Can I add to what Divya
Yes,
ma'am said?
please.
Yeah, there are two more concerns in my perspective if you are considering education abroad. One is the country that you want to go, because every country has a rule for how much time you can stay back and whether you can work there or not. Because if you're spending so much money, then you have to kind of make sure that you can earn it back, because the fees are very high. So remember the amount that you're going to spend there, and whether it is worth it, and if you can stay back in that country and earn it. That is a very important consideration that you should consider, in my understanding.
Perfect. I
Yeah,
think
I
very
totally agree.
that.
And I think QS ranking and also the job opportunities after you do a master's. Like I said, it should be a value addition. So don't get too emotional if your friends are going abroad and they're doing their master's. I think it does not work like that. You have to really sit down and compare what choices are.
I have a question. I think both the speakers would like to weigh in on this. What is the difference between government and private institutes? Very, very different question. But please, if ma'am can come in. Divya ma'am, if you can come in, maybe.
Yeah, Shruti ma'am, you can begin.
Sorry.
You can begin with the answer and then I'll follow.
Okay. So, in my understanding, some of the government institutions like NID, IDC, we know that they are one of the best. So, if you can get into them, good for you. However, within the last 10 years, I'll say the landscape has changed entirely. The educational landscape has transformed, and there are many, many private universities which have come up who are offering you a great value for your money education, and because they are private they need to prove that they are good. So they are working hard to give you the best. But again, many times government also means that you have to pay less fees at times, and you should consider that as well. When I was talking about what you should look at in an institute or university, I mentioned that you should look for the approvals. That is very important aspect. And apart from that, you should look for the infrastructure of that institute, whether it is government or private. Another thing, and the most important, is the staff that is attached with that institute, whether it is private or government, because staff is going to mentor you, and it's going to give you a certain direction in your career. So go and look at the websites and see what kind of staff is there. Also in India, we generally, we avoid interactions. We don't go out and ask questions, we don't go out and meet people. If you have shortlisted any government or private institutions, then go and visit those institutions, meet the staff out there, meet the present students out there. That's my suggestion, because what present students can tell you, uh, that is a treasure of information, and it can help you decide whether to go for any institution, whether private or government, in my understanding.
Thank you, ma'am. Divya ma'am, if you would like to weigh in on this.
Yeah, I totally agree with what ma'am has already said. I would just like to add, you can also interact with the faculty there. You can look at the kind of work the students are turning. You can talk to the alumni. Of course, present students have a big treasure trail of what the institute is like and what you would learn. Also, maybe look at the faculty profile. That is another very, very important thing. It it can really make or break your interest and the way you learn. So all that is very important along with visiting the campus. I think that is another addition to what Ram has said. But yeah, the basic difference, like he said, is the fee structure, and you should always check for affiliations and government, schedule.
Perfect. Um, Tejashri has another question. Ma'am, I think I'm pretty good as in sketching. So will it be linked with architecture also? Which subject do I focus more on towards Divya ma'am?
Yeah. So I think just sketching is not enough. There are multiple sections in NATA. So 125 marks and some 50 something, and then 22 point something. So I think all of those have to be concentrated on. You cannot just concentrate on one, aid that and say, okay, I'm perfect in this and maybe, I'll get through. So touch upon everything and try and go through every single aspect that would help you be more aware of what kind of uh, aptitude you're good at. So you already know you're good at sketching, so why improve that further? Maybe you can work on something which is actually required for architecture, can be furthered and worked on. Like aptitude is very important. Um, Verbal communication, yes, a lot of students lack that. We do try and help them out, but that is important. Being vocal, being able to talk to people, express what your work is very important. And apart from that, yes, entrance exam is just one step, but beyond that, there's a lot more for you.
Okay. We have a question from Hansraj. In design, how can I draw the product that is perfect in my mind on paper to explain its working? I think Shruti ma'am would like to comment on this.
Yeah, see, when you are designing designing a new product or improvising an existing product, what is most important is clarity of your vision. And to put it forth for people to understand, there are two things that you can do. One is try to draw it, and another is try to label it or give smaller instructions, short clear instructions, which will help people understand what you're trying to say. So even if you're not very good in drawing, that is also fine. But if you can detail out how, what are the enhancements and how it is going to give you a different experience in its functionality, then that is sufficient.
Okay. I think we'll take one question from Siddheshwar. As in this vast competition, everyone is preparing to get into top government institutes. So if we don't get into the government colleges, should we stop looking towards design as a career option?
Absolutely not, because as I said, there are many private institutions. An institution like mine, for example, Bharatiya Vidyapeeth College of Fine Arts, if you consider it, then it is giving you all the scholarships that government is offering. It's not only if you are in a caste, you get the option of getting scholarships from caste. Also, open caste students are getting many different kind of scholarships. So go and look for them if it is about fees. And as far as education quality is concerned, obviously private educations are definitely giving you good education. So no need to drop design.
Right. I have one question in private. What about the job opportunity in both the fields?
Okay.
Yeah, ma'am.
So like I said before, just graduating as an architect doesn't mean that you have to practice as an architect. You can take up a lot of allied fields for design. You can take up interior design. You can take up product design. You can specialize and master and then take up varied other fields. But in terms of job opportunities, either you can practice as an individual architect, register yourself in practice. You can set up an office along with your friends. You can work in an office which is already successful, has projects, is well set up. You can work for an organization or an NGO. A lot of NGOs these days are also doing architecture and allied related work. So there are multiple options. It really depends on what your inclination would be, but there are ample options.
Okay, thank you. I think we would be wrapping up the session now. One last question for both the speakers from my side. Ma'am, what would be your one piece of advice to students who are coming to architecture, and to you, Shrutina, also, what would be the one piece of advice that students are looking for in design career? So if you can weigh in on this.
I think there's no one thing. Like I said before, you have to touch upon varied aspects and see where you are good at right now and where you need to better yourself and work towards. So there are again multiple things which both me and Shrutina have highlighted. You should be with an open mind. You should be able to explore, observe better, and create. So whatever facilitates these four things, you should concentrate on that and work on what you lack on. That is very important. Confidence drives everything. So I guess with practice and you add to your confidence, and that will make you better for any field.
Shruti ma'am.
Yeah, I'm going to say the same thing that Divya ma'am has said, but if it is to be put in one advice, then I would say that get rid of your peers, because they stop you from growing. There is no need to be afraid of anything or anyone in this world. And if you have something in your mind, go ahead, seek it, look for answers, ask questions, and don't be afraid to explore, because nobody, believe me, nobody is perfect. Everybody has to try. And design is not about striking that one eureka perfect thing out of the blue. It is about a design process where you fail multiple times before you reach your destination or the right solution. So one advice is don't be afraid of anything. Just go and do what you feel like doing.
Okay. We'll wrap up the session here. Thank you, Divya ma'am and Shruti ma'am, for coming in and giving us your valuable time to talk about your experiences. Uh, Thank you, everybody, for joining in today. It was a great time having you here. And yeah, thank you, everyone. Thank you, all the speakers. Thank you, all the participants. And if you have any further questions, you can contact me. I can give you contacts of the speakers if they are okay with that. And I'll end today's session here today. Thank you very much. Thank you, everyone.
Before we leave, I'd like to thank Divya ma'am also and Ajinkya, you also, for inviting me. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye.
Goodbye.